You represent the largest association of PBM companies, I think. Is that right?
Yes, sir. I believe the only.
The largest and only. Perfect. Now, just help me understand what it is your business is supposed to be doing. You're supposed to be making drugs cheaper for patients. Is that basically right?
We're supposed to help employers and plan sponsors administer benefits at a more affordable point for the consumers.
Okay, more affordable for consumers. That's patients. So you're supposed to be making would you say that you're succeeding?
We've had success in managing the net cost of drugs across most categories of medications, and yes, in large part, but we have the challenge of ever escalating drug company list prices to work against.
Okay, let me translate that for you. I think the answer you're looking for is no. You're not succeeding at all. Look, let's look at some data. This data shows the percentage that Americans pay more than other countries for brand name drugs. In Canada, we pay 324% more than Canadians pay, 445% more than France, and so on. On average, all together, we pay 422% more than all of these other countries.
They say the healthcare system is broken, but what if it's actually being rigged? That's exactly what Senator Josh Hawley suggested when he unloaded on the head of the largest PBM association during a recent Senate hearing. His message? You're not helping patients, you're screwing them. And Congress needs to do something about it.
Now, either you're the worst negotiators in the history of the world, or something's wrong with your business model. Which is it?
Those, if I may, Senator, those are comparisons of list prices. Drug companies alone, as we talked about earlier, set the list price. The PBM is negotiating down the net cost.
Look, consumers are, you're not telling me that consumers aren't paying more in the United States than they are overseas, are you?
I think the data would tell us that they are exposed to higher price points. And then it comes to an issue of benefit design. The plan decides what your copay is and what your exposure is.
And the benefit, here's the benefit design. The design of the plan benefits the insurance companies and you. It does not benefit the patients. Patients are getting screwed, if I may. We are paying 2, 3, 4 times more for drugs. People in my state can't afford insulin. They can't afford the most basic drugs. That's when they have plans that are managed by you. And you guys are getting rich off of it. I mean, absolutely filthy rich. The FTC's report, so this is the government report now, found that the top 3 PBM companies generated $7.3 billion in profits between 2017 and 2022. $7.3 billion. That's a lot of money. Why is it that nobody can afford their drugs in this country, but you're making $7.3 billion? That's more than the revenue of some nations.
If I may, 2 points. One, you're not wrong that we need more competition among drug companies. The patent reforms that you all have advanced in this committee, the more we can have competition, we can leverage that to address that cost challenge that we have.
I'm glad you say we need competition, because don't you think the competition we really need is to break up this alliance between insurance companies and PBMs?
No, sir.
The biggest 3 PBMs are owned by the biggest insurance companies. You're like one huge, giant pharma industry, a giant pharma series of monopolists, right? Why is it a good idea for the biggest PBMs to be owned by the biggest insurers, and now you're buying up pharmacies as well? Why should we allow that? Why should insurance companies, PBMs, also own pharmacies?
So
how is that good for patients?
It's good for patients and for plans because it's creating optionality in the market.
It's creating optionality. In the state of Missouri, just last year, we lost 73 independent pharmacies across my state in 19 different counties. Do you know that 2 entire counties in the state of Missouri now have, wait for it, 0 pharmacies? 0. Now, you are making $7.3 billion, you and the companies that you represent, and yet 2 whole counties in the state of Missouri have no pharmacies, 73 closed last year. Why shouldn't we be breaking you guys up? I mean, this looks like classic monopolist behavior. The patients are getting screwed, Missourians are getting screwed, you're getting rich.
Respectfully, Senator, you keep citing a gross revenue number of the drug, every dollar spent on prescription drugs.
You don't have profits?
Profits are in the low single digits on
Your profits are not better than they've ever been?
I don't know on the trend over the years.
Yes, you
but
do. You know
the
exactly. It is all
lows.
laid out in the FTC report. You absolutely know the answer. Your profits have increased and increased and increased, and now you are buying up pharmacies, and you're buying up pharmacies and you're putting independent pharmacies out of business, and you're doing it deliberately because you are giving special rebates and lower costs to the pharmacies that you own, and you are directing patients to the pharmacies that you own, such that if they don't go to a pharmacy that you own, they have to pay higher costs, they have to pay out-of-network costs, right? You're nodding your head, Dr. McGunn. You've lived this, right?
I have lived this. I live it every day. Yes, that's exactly what's happening.
So, Mr. Scott, why don't we break you guys up? Can you agree? I mean, if you believe in competition, you just said a second ago, we need more competition, by golly. Well, let's do it.
And
let's break up the PB. Let's pass a law that says PBMs cannot own pharmacies. You for that?
No, sir. And we've seen that competition grow in the last 5 years by 18% in the PBM market, by 9% in the last 2 years.
Wait a minute. You've seen the number of pharmacies grow in this country?
The number of PBMs, meaning it's a competitive marketplace.
It's not a competitive marketplace. The biggest 3 PBMs own 80% of the business. 80%. And you're in turn owned by the biggest insurance companies. The problem is there is no competition. It's a racket. It's a total racket. And the people who lose are the patients who cannot afford the prescription drugs. It's time for this Congress to do something about it.
It all started with a simple question. Hawley asked if the job of PBM's pharmacy benefit managers is to make drugs more affordable for patients. The answer should have been a confident yes. Instead, he got a vague corporate speech about benefit design and managing net costs. In other words, a dodge. That's when Hawley brought the receipts. He cited data showing that Americans are paying, on average, 422% more for brand-name prescription drugs than people in other countries. Compared to Canada, France, and Australia, the U.S. comes out looking like a cash cow for big pharma. And here's the kicker. So Hawley asked the question that was on everyone's mind: are PBMs the worst negotiators in the world, or is their business model just broken? Or maybe, just maybe, it's working exactly how they designed it, to make billions in profit while patients go bankrupt trying to afford insulin. That $7.3 billion figure came up. That's what the top 3 PBM companies reportedly made in profits between 2017 and 2022. That's more money than the annual revenue of some entire countries. And yet, in Hawley's own state of Missouri, people can't even find a pharmacy. 73 independent pharmacies closed in 1 year alone. 2 whole counties now have 0 pharmacies at all. 0. And it's not by accident. Hawley accused PBMs, now owned by the largest insurance companies, of buying up their own pharmacies, then steering patients toward those, giving them lower prices if they go in-network, and punishing them financially if they don't. Go to an independent pharmacy? Expect to pay more. That's not patient choice. That's corporate control. When asked why this kind of consolidation should be allowed, the PBM rep dodged again, calling it optionality. But Hawley wasn't fooled. He called it what it is: monopolistic behavior that crushes small businesses and hurts the very people the healthcare system is supposed to serve. And maybe the most damning part? The PBM rep claimed the industry only makes low single-digit profits. Hawley fired back. You know exactly what your profits are. They're laid out in the government's own FTC report. The truth is, PBMs are richer than ever, and patients are more desperate than ever. So Hawley posed the question no one else dared to say out loud: why shouldn't we just break them up? Why not pass a law that says PBMs can't own pharmacies? Why not finally inject some real competition into a system that clearly favors corporate profits over human health? This wasn't just another hearing. This was a direct challenge to one of the most powerful and invisible industries in America. If Congress doesn't act, nothing will change. And if they do, it might be because Hawley forced them to stop pretending that the problem is too complicated to fix. Because at the end of the day, it's not complicated. It's about people. It's about power. And it's about who pays the price when corporate middlemen take control of our medicine cabinets.